Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Indy's Trusted Servant Show on inspiresmall.biz/Indy's Trusted Servant. Thanks to our host, Ryan Henry, for allowing me to do these interviews and educate our community on what's going on. What is Indy's Trusted Servant? Well, that's me, Danny O'Malia. I do customer service training and keynote speaking about customer service and organizational culture. Learned all of that at the hand of the master, my late father, Joe O'Malia, back in the O'Malia food market days, and even before that at the age of 9 when Joe owned a little grocery store in Broad Ripple that actually failed. One of the things he taught me was never give up. 10 years later, he started O'Malia Food Markets with a certain degree of success, as many of you know. What's the Indy's Trusted Servant Show on inspiresmall.biz? I like to describe it as lively local small biz and community talk where you can feel the pulse of Indy. And my guest today is the EMS Chief of the Carmel Fire Department, Andrew Young. And the Carmel Fire Department does a lot more than just put out fires, as if that wasn't enough. So Andrew, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Well, tell the folks about yourself, first of all, where how you got to where you are.
Sure. So I've been here with the fire department for about 18 years now. Been a paramedic for about 15 years. My first 12 years with the fire department, I actually spent on Ambulance 45 here in home place at Carmel. So
107th in college,
that's
right?
it. Yep. So got a lot of good experience, knowledge in the medical world with the fire department. So,
well, what about how did you become a fireman, and what about everything? Where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to school?
Absolutely.
What'd you study?
Yep.
And what'd you do before you were a fireman, if anything?
Yeah. So actually, I grew up on the southeast side of Indianapolis. Went to Franklin Central.
Franklin Central. Okay.
Graduated back in '99, which for me seems like a while ago. But played a lot of sports in school. After high school, my initial passion was aviation.
Okay.
So I became a private pilot back in 1999 as well.
Really? How did you do that?
So I went through, took my first discovery flight at Greenwood Airport, fell in love with it. I love flying, I love being in the air. So my initial, my passion was aviation. I actually wanted to be a professional pilot. I wanted to fly in the military. In the meantime, I go to college, went to Vincennes at the Indianapolis International Airport for to become an aircraft mechanic.
Vincennes has a place at the airport.
They've got
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I know they're all over the place.
Yeah. So it's a beautiful facility full of airplanes. You learn everything about airplanes at that facility. And I graduated with what was called an associate's degree, but also got my airframe and power plant technician license.
This is an interesting point. Young people don't have to go to a 4-year college.
No, not at all.
Obviously, you've been successful. You took a different route, and I think this is good information for people to know that exists.
Absolutely, and you can make a great living as I was making a great living as an aircraft mechanic at the time. So once I graduated, I was going to go on to Purdue and get my bachelor's and try to get in the military. Well, Delta Airlines came up at our graduation basically and recruited a bunch of us. Threw a bunch of money at us. Here I was, I think 20 years old, and offering me great money, relocation. I got to work on some of the best airplanes out there. Moved down to Atlanta, Georgia. Unfortunately, I got hired 2 months before 9/11. And so you know what 9/11 did to the airlines.
Yes.
So I unfortunately got caught up in that. They held on to us for a year and a half, and then they ended up having to lay off a bunch of people. So Delta did a great job. They held on to. They were one of the last to hold out with trying to keep their people.
God love them. God love them for trying.
It didn't work out. So I had a friend that from back home, from here, that was on the Carmel Fire Department. Every time I talked to him, he's always telling me great stories. Of course, the schedule, I was like, you seem like you don't hardly ever work. So he kind of turned me on to the fire department world. I interviewed at a couple of different fire departments, and luckily Carmel came calling. So that got my foot in the door at the fire department. So,
and that was 18 years ago, you say?
2004.
2004. That's 18 years
18 years ago.
Okay.
We just celebrated 18 years.
So you started on a fire truck, right? As a fireman.
Yeah. So right out of the gate, we go through a recruit class, about 6 months of learning to be a firefighter, learning what it is to be an EMT. And then once you graduate, go out and you're on the fire trucks and ambulances. Well, back when I first started, a lot of the new guys go straight to the ambulance. So we own our own ambulances at Carmel. So I spent, like I was saying, first 12 years basically on ambulance 45 for the most part.
So not on the truck, but on the EMT truck.
On the ambulance, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Every once in a while,
ambulance.
I might go to the fire truck, but it was one of those things back in that day and that time. It's not the most desirable position, and so the newer guys would kind of get put on the ambulance. So
tell us a little bit more about the inner workings of the fire department. How many employees does the Carmel Fire Department have these days?
I believe it's now 172 sworn firefighters.
Okay.
And then 20-ish civilian type employees.
Administrative type people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, aren't you guys in the process of moving your headquarters?
Yeah. So my office, we used to be at 2 Civic Square, which was Station 41. That building was built many years ago. And back then, I think it housed maybe 4 guys, 4 personnel. Throughout the years, that station has grown personnel-wise. And we've really, one half the station's firefighters, the other half was administration.
Okay.
And it really, we're busting at the seams.
You won't believe this, but I was on the committee that got that built
Way
back then. That's
Wow.
how old I am.
That's before me. That was before me.
That was a kind of Mayor Ryman put me on it, and then I finished it with Mayor, I can't think of her name. But anyway,
Yeah.
The whole Civic Square thing,
Sure,
which
sure.
is beautiful facility. So where are they moving the headquarters to?
So it's on a little bit further north, kind of Midtown area. If you know where like Sun King is, it's just behind Sun King. They're building a beautiful 4-story facility there. First floor is going to be kind of a museum type area on one side. The other side is going to be a public education for the kids, for how to prevent fires, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Second floor will be all of our offices. Third floor, more conference type stuff. And then the fourth is kind of a walkout terrace type
Okay,
thing.
great. Is that building's under construction, I take it?
Yeah, yep. It's,
Well, I've always wondered what that building was going to be, and now
Yep.
I know. So we got all that settled. The Carmel Fire Department and the Police Department are fantastic, and they do a lot of stuff beyond putting out fires. We know about putting out fires, but the EMT function. People have heart attacks, you help. There's a shooting, you help. And you're here to talk mainly about the bleed control kits.
Absolutely.
And whatever else you want to tell us that the fire department does beyond putting out fires, which is pretty darn good.
Yeah, one of the things a lot of people don't realize is, the fire department, the majority of our runs are actually medical calls. So I would put it 70-75% of our calls are medical type nature calls. We don't fight many fires, which is a good thing. Fire prevention has come a long way, and we have a great fire prevention bureau that really does a good job with that. But the bulk of what we do is really EMS. So it's not what a lot of people think. People think we're out fighting fire every single day. We're not. I mean, we have had some fires here recently, but a lot of what we do is really medical. Now we constantly train for that fire and constant training for that.
Right.
We do regular pre-plans of every one of the businesses in Carmel at least twice a year. We walk through them.
Great.
Yeah,
Great.
Yeah. So there's a lot of other stuff behind the scenes that goes on that a lot of people just don't know about. But
And I can tell you, living in Carmel, when I see a siren, it's more likely an ambulance than a fire truck by far, right?
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's kind of the nature of it. So, but yeah. So the other big thing that we've kind of gotten involved in are these bleeding control kits. So I believe this kind of was a push at the state level in a smaller capacity to try to get these bleeding control kits out into the public, maybe into schools more. But we really saw the need.
I'm going to hold that up. So, yeah.
So one of the big things that kind of helped develop this the unfortunate events that take place, and just like the one that we just had, the tragedy down in Texas. So, schools would have maybe one bleeding control kit in their entire school that's maybe locked up down in an administrative office. Well, that's potentially not going to be feasible if there's someone, doing some bad things.
Or
So-
even if somebody falls on the playground and rips their knee up. on a minor level,
absolutely.
right?
So it's also kind of changed our tactics, police and fire. If an event like this takes place, it used to be kind of we wait outside until the scene is completely secure inside before we go in and try to get people out. But we've kind of now advanced to we're going into the building quicker to try to get these victims out.
Oh, the timing on this discussion is, what can you say?
Yeah. So what we did was we took it on ourselves we wanted all of our schools to have bleeding control kits, and we wanted one in every classroom.
Every classroom in Carmel, including private schools.
All classrooms.
All classrooms in Carmel.
Yep. So we wanted them everywhere, easily accessible. It doesn't, to your point, have to be the extreme situation. It can be someone fell and cut themselves, or that someone's in shop class and cut the finger, or whatever. Can't get the bleeding stopped. Go get your bleeding control kit. We have the contents in here to hopefully stop that bleed and save a life.
Tell me about the contents.
Yeah, sure. So initially, as you see, we got the placard on the front. On the back side of the placard, you can't see it real well, but the instructions are on there for how to use the tourniquet that's inside of here. A lot of people think of a tourniquet, they think of a belt, right? Tourniquets have come a long way, but there is an advanced or a more productive or better useful tourniquet, I guess.
Belt's good, this is better.
There you go, absolutely. But with that comes, you got to know how to put it on. So it can be a little confusing, but that's why we put the instructions right on the back of the card. You can flip it over, see exactly how to do it.
Unless I misconstrued the speech I heard a couple of months ago at City Hall, do you also offer training on how to use it?
Absolutely. So one other thing, there's a QR code that we put on the front of all of these. You scan this QR code, the first 30 to 40 seconds is down and dirty how to use the contents of this kit. So there's kind of a training right there, right then and there when you need it.
Okay.
If, ideally, if these are all the classrooms, maybe the first, second day of school, the teacher were to scan the code, play it for the kids, they all can see as well. They can get a training ahead of time on how to use the contents of this kit.
I take it you're in pretty good contact with the school systems.
Yeah.
Do you try to remind them every September to make sure that
Going forward, we would like to do that. We just got them in this school year, but I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. Because a new principal could come in and doesn't know anything about it.
What is this thing? So, but other contents of the kit, we have some basic, what we call trauma shears or scissors that will really cut through your clothes. We have some other bandaging type contents. We have some gloves. We also have a black Sharpie marker. You might be wondering, why is there a marker inside of a bleeding control kit? What does that do? But once you put the tourniquet on, we want you to mark the time that you tightened that tourniquet down, because that's going to tell the doctors, give them some good information about when we stopped blood flow to that part of the body. So all good stuff. Great. It's a great kit. We, there's another company out there that's more commercialized company, and a kit like this, you're looking at close to $100. We took it upon ourselves to build our own kits. Myself and another gentleman sourced our vendors.
Wow,
and
that's cool.
We got the price down on these down to about $26 a piece, and that's for anyone. So if you wanted a kit, we got a link for you to go to this website. You can buy a kit for your business, or wherever.
You guys are encouraging businesses in Carmel to buy the kit, right? So if somebody wants to buy a kit for their business, is there a website to go to, or
I'll get you the website.
If you could tell the folks here, that'd be great.
It's through PennCare. So PennCare is our vendor, our medical vendor that we use. They're the ones that built the kit. So if you go to penncare.com, it's PENNCARE.com, I believe. You can search for bleeding control kit, hopefully find the link for it. If not, I can get you the link if you want to put a link for that as well.
That's great. Has the word gotten out to the businesses in Carmel that this is available?
We were at the city council meeting. We've had some, I think, social media posts through the Carmel Fire Department's social media, but you never can have enough.
Never can have enough. I got to tell you that back in the day when we had the grocery stores, we put all of our store management people through CPR training.
Sure.
And 2 people's lives were saved in our stores.
Absolutely, yeah.
And just yesterday, I went to a ribbon cutting just to talk more about Carmel and its push for safety, about the defibrillator stuff that's going up along the Monon.
I was there.
Right? You were there at that
part of that. I was part of that team to make that happen.
And that's fantastic.
Yep.
That's just fantastic.
That's one of many to come all along the Monon. In Carmel.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Another thing we want, did you want to say any more about the bleed control kits? I mean, it's obvious. We got it in every classroom in Carmel. That's fantastic.
They're also going in they've been put in all street vehicles. Every city vehicle, street department, parks department, all the city vehicles throughout Carmel should have them. Police cars have them. All the fire department staff vehicles have them. We're just, again, trying to get them out there everywhere. They're in that AED station that we just opened.
Oh, there'll be bleed control.
There's a bleeding control and an AED in that cabinet. So
somebody has a heart attack on the Monon, and there's going to be more than one of these stations, too.
They'll be all along from 96 up to 146 is the goal.
Eventually. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
and you also, I always want to bring this up because we had this lady on the show earlier, the Safe Haven baby box that you have at 107th and College in that fire department.
Yep.
And didn't we just have our third baby
turned
in?
Yep,
Yeah.
the third baby.
So for the uninitiated, the Safe Haven baby boxes were a lady that's had a baby but doesn't think she can keep it, can put the baby in the Safe Haven baby box. It gets picked up by a fireman, and the baby ends up with a family, right?
Absolutely.
It's a fantastic thing.
Absolutely.
And that's a new thing, too. And since I think the third one was just very recent, wasn't it?
Just had the third one. We've had now 3 in the last 5.5 weeks. So the baby box has been in place for a while, but
the word's getting out.
The word's getting
more.
out.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and we want to celebrate the fact that a child has been surrendered, saved. I guess going to have a good outcome. So it's a great initiative, a great program. We're super proud of it. So,
what is there anything else that the Carmel Fire Department does that we don't know about that you want to talk about?
From my perspective, as far as EMS wise, medical wise, one of the two things, we're in the business of being reactive. If someone falls, gets hurt, they call 911. We come out and react. Right. One of the big pushes I'm trying to get going with more is being more proactive, and we kind of talked about this with some of the training with the Stop the Bleed or the bleeding control kit. But I'm really wanting to become more proactive, get out in the public, do some more education. I'm wanting to put together, I'm in the process of putting together a public awareness course class that the public could come in for free, sit through an hour-long class with us, and they can learn hands-only CPR. They can learn how to relieve somebody or help somebody that's choking, how to use the bleeding control kit, stroke awareness, then we have a program called Pulse Point. So a Pulse Point is if you learn how to do CPR, you can register yourself on Pulse Point, and if there is, let's say, a cardiac arrest or someone goes down across the street, you will get a notification on your phone that says, hey, CPR is needed nearby. You can go to respond, and then it'll walk you right to where you need to go start, at a minimum, get the hands on the chest, get that heart pumping, and get that blood circulating until we can get there to provide more advanced interventions.
How many folks in the EMS department?
How many EMS people do we have?
Yeah.
Everybody in the fire department is an EMT.
Oh, is that right? EMT,
Everybody.
I'm sorry.
Yep. So, no, that's right. Everybody when you get hired on, you get put through an EMT course. You have to be an EMT.
Excellent.
And then about a third of the department of the firefighters are paramedics. So they've taken it one step further to provide more advanced procedures and
Are
interventions.
you yourself a paramedic?
Yep. Been a paramedic for 15 years. Also became a nurse back in 2015. So I'm also a registered nurse. So
really,
and that's becoming a more popular thing too. We have about maybe 5 nurses now, guys becoming nurses. Not used in that capacity at the fire department, but you never know what the future
you never
holds.
know. Well, you guys are getting to be jacks of all trades when it comes to public safety and life saving and everything. So I'm trying to think where we go with the rest of this because there's so much. This is such important stuff. The fire department. I can't tell if you don't live in Carmel, you don't know how great the fire and the police department are in Carmel. They're everywhere. They need to be. It seems like. And I just have to say hats off to you. You know what? We didn't cover your family. You want to talk about your family?
Sure. I'm married. My wife is actually in the medical field as well. I've got 2 beautiful kids. They're both teenagers.
They Carmel schools?
No, they live out in Greenfield, so they go to Greenfield schools. But they're both teenagers. One's getting ready to start driving, so it's a little scary. But
it is very scary. I got my 5th grandchild getting ready to drive now. That's really scary.
yeah. So rest of the family's still down on the south side of Indianapolis. I got some family in Florida, but we're all close. Grandparents are all still around, approaching 100 years old. So
You're kidding?
No, they're healthy and well, and have a great family. So
That's
great.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I think have you covered everything you want to cover?
I think so. Unless you have anything else.
I can't think of anything else. Ryan, can you think of anything else? No. Ryan says no. Well, let me tell you who our next guest is going to be, and I want to thank Andrew Young of the Carmel Fire Department. Does great work for the community, for being our guest today on the bleed control kits and the Safe Haven baby box and all the training you guys are doing. All great stuff.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great to have you. Next week's going to be a little bit off the wall. It's a lady named Marianne Barathe, and she was kind of like the number one assistant to the late great actress Doris Day. And she's going to talk all about Doris Day and Hollywood and all that kind of stuff. So it's the first time I've gotten beyond Indiana in my Indy's Trusted Servant show. So tune in every Monday at 3 o'clock on inspiresmall.biz/Indy's Trusted Servant for these interviews. And by the way, they'll be up permanently. So if you miss a show, you miss Monday's show or today's show, and you want to learn more about this, then just go to the website, right? Absolutely. Andrew, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
God bless.
Thanks for watching this episode of the Indy's Trusted Servant Show. If you liked this episode, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more updates. The Indy's Trusted Servant Show is produced by InspireSmall.biz in Indianapolis, Indiana. For more episodes of the Indy's Trusted Servant Show, visit www.inspiresmall.biz/Indy's Trusted Servant. Thanks for watching.